channel. So you may or may not have noticed that I have not been around recently. I haven't published a video in probably a week now, I think, and that's, interesting considering I really wanted to do daily NaNoWriMo vlogs. But it's been an interesting time, NaNoWriMo. I got off to a great start, things were good, and then the election happened, and I think the level of anxiety in the election, and I'm sure a lot of other people felt this, I literally couldn't get anything done. Like, it was a struggle to get my work done, and then I was like, oh, writing. I really just want to watch the guy stand at the whiteboard for 5 more hours. Like, the level of anxiety that I had around that was so high. It was just being this like heightened state for an extended amount of time that no writing happened. I have a few videos about that. And then after that, the week after that, I think I managed to publish a couple of videos, but I kind of had a big burnout moment on, I guess, the day after the results were announced. It was a big burnout moment, and then for the rest of the week I was like really trying to push to get my actual work done. I ended up taking a day off work, and I wasn't writing because I didn't feel like writing. I was tired. I was tired, I was a little burnt out, and at the end of the day I really just wanted to work on my puzzle. This is my puzzle. This is, oh, can I get it? Yeah, okay. This is my puzzle. I'm like very close to being finished it. This is the reason I'm losing NaNoWriMo, partially. But I just kind of wanted to like listen to podcasts and do my puzzle, and you know, it's not like I have any deadlines or anything like that. Maybe at some point in my writing life I will have deadlines, and that will be exciting and wonderful, but I don't right now. So I figured it was fine to sort of take a bit of a break. So I took a break from NaNoWriMo, and yeah, I am slowly getting back into it. I finished a 3rd Christmas short story kind of editing yesterday, and I've gone back to writing one of my plays today. So that is super, super exciting. So slowly getting back into it. But I figured, because it was sort of the middle of November, middle of NaNoWriMo, I would do a bit of an update on my goals, which involves me pulling out my notebook with my goals in them. So my first goal was to work on one of my 1-act plays, which is Sticky Toffee Pudding. I ended up changing what I wanted to do with this. So it's called Sticky Toffee Pudding. It's basically about a family at Thanksgiving. Originally, the play involved a lot of flashbacks. I mean, the meat of it was probably flashbacks. This was interesting. Then I had 2 scenes read at a workshop for my playwriting class, and the professor asked everybody there. They gave me great feedback. They really liked kind of the mom and the aunt character. They liked the relationships that I'd set out. They kind of liked the setup. He asked them, what do you think is going to happen next? And they told me what they thought was going to happen next. And this is a weird way to write, and maybe this is incorrect, but I already had a draft of what I wanted. So it was like getting beta reader feedback without actually having them read the full thing. But when they told me their expectations, I realized that the second half of the play that I have written now doesn't quite fulfill those expectations, and that there were things in the present at that table, not at the past, that I could dive deeper into and explore more rather than doing like a gazillion flashbacks. And so I decided that I was going to rewrite the last half of the play, and that's what I've been doing. So rewrite it either with only 1 flashback or with no flashbacks at all, to focus on the drama that's in that moment. And I think that I will come up with something better than what I have now, something that works better. So that's the update of that play. The second play is my Darwin play. I have not started that, but it is outlined, and that will be a focus once Sticky Toffee Pudding is done. Coming over to my Christmas short stories, I had a really exciting development in these actually a couple days ago. So my 3rd beta reader finally got back to me, and he was great. His feedback was so nice. It was really motivating to hear, honestly, because I hadn't been writing for a week, and he basically said, I loved this. It felt like I was watching a classic Christmas movie. It was really well written. I felt very emotionally engaged the whole time, and that was just amazing feedback to hear because I was really inspired by kind of like those classic Christmas stories. It reminds me, it could be like a little bit of Love Actually, but a little more depressing a little bit at the beginning at least. So I was really kind of inspired by that classic Christmas style, and the fact that they came across felt really good. There's still things to do, obviously. There's still edits to be done, and I'm considering different ways to change the story, or not alter the story, but to make the story better. There's two in particular I think I talked about before that I think need bigger edits than I currently have. And it was interesting to get his perspective and contrast it with an earlier beta reader's perspective, because I asked him, oh, did you think that there like wasn't a shift in Katie's story, which is a friend of the family, and that's one of the stories that one of my earlier beta readers, Jackie, who has a YouTube channel as well, she was like, I really didn't feel a shift here. And he said, like, no, I thought it was good. And I thought he nailed the arc in the overall plot, but didn't quite sell me on there being a huge change. So I have some things to change there and some things to think about. One of the things that Jackie said was that she expected the story to go from like a low to a high. Literally, that's all I'm gonna say. And she expected there to be kind of like a carefree moment at the end. And that's not the function of the story in the overall story. So I read that and I was like, no. That's the case of beta reader feedback that I kind of disregarded. I thought about it for a while, and then I thought, I don't think so. Although, to be fair, this is gonna sound really roundabout, it was originally like that. So my aim for this story was for it to go from a negative value to the negation of the negation, which in story grid terms is basically, it's like disillusionment, and then there's like disillusionment masked as enlightenment. So originally I showed kind of what I thought was a fake enlightenment, and then I got a lot of feedback being like, this is super cliche, and I have to be honest with you. In the story, the girls use drugs, and I have never done that, so I did all of this research on like how drugs worked. And then when I got to my story, I was like so excited to implement everything that I learned about drugs in the story that when I had beta reader feedback, they were like, this is cliche, like, we know, thank you. Like, why are you doing this step by step? And I was like, well, this sounded really cool to me because I don't know how drugs work, but they pointed that out, and I thought, hey, that's fair. I was really just trying to show off my knowledge of illegal drugs, which is basically non-existent considering I had to Google it. So anyways, I'm still playing around with the idea of, do I try to show of how far do I take it? So I changed it so things kind of stop before the high happens. And I feel like that could still show like disillusionment masked as enlightenment, or I could take it to the high and show disillusionment masked as enlightenment. The only thing is, I don't know if I can do anything that's particularly authentic or unique with that. That's the next story I have up to edit, so I have to think about that a lot. Then another interesting thing that he said was his favorite story was Sky's story, which is one that takes place in Germany. And his favorite was one that was his favorite, and Jackie said that that was one of her least favorite because she felt that it didn't shift. And I definitely see what she's saying, and I see them both. I think that it's I love the story a lot, but I do think that like the shift that I want to happen, the character change that I want to happen, isn't quite happening the way it should. So it's kind of a meshing of the two feedbacks. So I don't think I have any, contrary to what I thought at the beginning, I actually don't think I have any massive rewrites to do. I think I might have a little bit of restructuring or dropping hints earlier, things like that. Those are the two that I haven't touched, but I have edited number 4, I've edited number 1, and I've edited number 2. So I've line edited completely and like rewritten out so I could edit it line by line 3 of the stories out of 4, and I'm on the the fourth one that I'm gonna do right now. So that's good, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I doubt I will be line editing the seventh one very much, because I feel like for the first time ever, when I wrote that story, I got very, very close to what I wanted, and I got very, very close to good the first time. So I don't want to continue finicky nitpicking it, because at this point I'm worried that like if I start overthinking things, I'll actually decrease the quality, if that makes sense. Like I spent so long trying to fix a few of these openings, and I've ultimately changed them back to what they were before, because I read it and I'm like, no, I don't like it, I like the old one better. So it's a lot of like finicky. I don't think it's for nothing, it's good to try different options, but definitely if I think something is good, and I do think, in my opinion, the seventh is my strongest, it's my favorite, and it was the strongest from the second that I wrote it, and I was doing line editing things like I'm doing on the other stories for the second draft of that one, that I like don't want to touch it. And then the last thing on my goals was 1837, and I've actually done nothing for 1837 yet, but that's okay, because a lot of it was just like reading it, rereading it, because I haven't read it since June. You know, reading some of the masterworks, just thinking about it and thinking about how I'm going to restructure it. Basically, I think going forward, my priority kind of has to be these plays, and then comes the short stories in 1837. The plays because there's a class and it's due, and you know, that sort of thing. But I was watching Kate Cavannaugh's video this morning, actually, of her I Tried Writing Like V.E. Schwab, which was published in August, but I just got around to watching it today. I love Kate Cavannaugh. I literally had a dream that we were best friends. So, you know, I'm very author to be. Yes, so I am planning on actually doing the plays in the mornings, like my morning writing sessions, and then doing some of the line editing, more analysis stuff in the afternoons after work. So this morning I worked on like sticky toffee pudding in the morning, and this afternoon I'm gonna work on, tonight I will probably edit some short stories, and I might go back to sticky toffee pudding just because I feel like I wanna wrap that play up very quickly if I can in the next couple days. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I don't know what my posting schedule is gonna be like. I don't think I'm gonna do NaNoWriMo vlogs every day. I might film every day and then put them together, or I might film one-off days. It kind of just depends on how things go. November is such a weird month. I feel like I would do a lot better with this writing in like January or something, when there's not so many like holidays and events and things going on. But NaNoWriMo? No, it would be NaNoWriMo. Well, join me in January to do NaNoWriMo, when I might actually write 50,000 words in a month, because that is not happening this month. But I'm back into it. I'm feeling pretty good about where I am, and pretty good about the fact that I gave myself that break. And you know what? I'm excited to get back into these plays, and I'm excited to get back writing, although I really need to finish this puzzle. So I kind of have two priorities: NaNoWriMo and finishing the puzzle, plus work, you know, but who cares about that? I'm just kidding. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know how your NaNoWriMo is going, how things have shaped up. Do you ever sort of just realize that writing is not fun and take yourself out for a little bit of a break? Let me know how you get back into it and what you're writing, anything you want to share, or problems you've had with like digesting beta reader feedback, just anything you want to comment on in the videos. People do that anyways, so. Also, see my sweater? I had like a crisis this morning on whether or not it was acceptable to wear a Christmassy sweater in November, and I just went with it because it's cozy. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.